Few empires in history have left their mark on the world quite like the Roman Empire. At its height, the empire spanned across 3 continents and boasted a population of over 50 million people. But despite its power and prestige, the Roman Empire eventually fell into decline and ultimately collapsed. In this video, we'll explore the various factors that contributed to the downfall of the Roman Empire, from internal corruption and political instability to external threats from invading barbarian tribes. So let's travel back in time to learn about one of the most important and fascinating periods of human history. The Roman army was a key pillar of the Roman Empire, serving as both a powerful defense force and an instrument of imperial expansion. At its height, the Roman army was renowned for its discipline, technology, and tactical mastery. However, the demands of maintaining such a large and far-flung military force placed enormous strain on the Roman economy, leading to financial problems that would ultimately contribute to the downfall of the empire. Additionally, the strains of constant warfare and military service weakened the vitality of Roman society, further undermining the ability of the state to weather the threats posed by invading barbarian tribes. One of the major causes of the Roman Empire's economic troubles was the high cost of maintaining the massive Roman army. In order to fund the upkeep of such a large military force, the Roman government levied high taxes on its citizens and relied heavily on plunder obtained through conquests. This created a vicious cycle of military spending, where the need for constant expansion and conquest caused rising expenses, leading to greater taxation and coin debasement that further weakened the economy. Ultimately, the Roman state was unable to keep pace with the financial demands of its military endeavors, leading to economic decline and contributing to the empire's eventual collapse. The Roman Empire faced numerous threats from barbarian tribes located on its borders, including the Germanic Goths and Vandals, the Huns from Central Asia, and the Persians from the East. These tribes were often motivated by a desire for resources, such as fertile land, and their invasions destabilized the already weakened Roman state. In addition, the Roman army was frequently overstretched and exhausted from constant warfare, making it more vulnerable to barbarian attacks. Despite the best efforts of the Roman military, it was ultimately unable to hold back the tide of barbarian invasions, leading to the fall of the Roman Empire. The Roman economy was one of the most extensive and complex in the ancient world, relying heavily on agriculture, trade, and manufacturing to sustain its vast network of cities and provinces. However, this economic system was dependent on the widespread use of slave labor. Estimates suggest that up to a third of the Roman population were slaves, with the majority used for agricultural and domestic labor. The Romans also employed skilled slaves for a wide range of specialized tasks, including metalworking, carpentry, and architecture. Despite the efficiency and productivity of this system, it created a rigid and highly stratified social hierarchy that contributed to unrest and dissatisfaction among lower-class citizens. The prevalence of slave labor in the Roman Empire had a profound impact on both the economy and on social inequality. The extensive use of slave labor inhibited the growth of free-wage labor and technological innovation, as slave labor was cheaper and more readily available. This dynamic perpetuated a cycle of economic stagnation and inhibited development, ultimately contributing to the decline of the Roman economy. The widespread availability of slave labor also reinforced a rigid class structure, with slave owners at the top of the social hierarchy and non-slave owners at the bottom. This created a sense of social unrest and engendered resentment and conflict within Roman society. The reliance on slave labor, coupled with other economic factors such as high taxation, rampant inflation, and resource depletion, led to the eventual decline of the Roman economy. The cost of maintaining an army and the constant need for conquests to maintain the supply of slaves and resources exerted further pressure on the already weakened economy. Additionally, the brutal treatment of slaves and the increasing use of forced labor created a sense of moral decay that contributed to the growing instability and political turmoil of the Roman state. Ultimately, the over-reliance on slave labor and the associated economic and social consequences played a significant role in the fall of the Roman Empire. During the final centuries of the Roman Republic, political power was shared among various elected officials and governing bodies. However, the rise of Emperor Augustus marked a shift towards imperial autocracy, with the emperor assuming greater control over governmental affairs. This consolidation of power had wide-ranging effects on Roman politics, including enabling the emperors to centralize power, suppress dissent, and maintain political order. Although there were attempts to restore the Republic, including by Julius Caesar's killers and conspirators, by and large the trend towards dynastic rule continued. While the consolidation of political power under the emperors brought some stability to the Roman state, it also laid the groundwork for future corruption and abuse of power. The Roman Empire was plagued by political corruption and power struggles, with various factions vying for control over the government and using their influence to enrich themselves at the expense of the state. This corruption became particularly rampant during the decline of the Roman Empire, with emperors regularly being assassinated or deposed, often by their own subordinates. Furthermore, the use of military force to secure political power led to systemic instability and frequently undermined the authority of the state. This political instability weakened the Roman state and contributed to its eventual fall. The erosion of political stability played a major role in the fall of the Roman Empire. As various factions vied for power, the government became increasingly unstable, with shifting alliances and power struggles contributing to an environment of constant political turmoil. This instability created a sense of uncertainty and undermining of trust in the government, with citizens losing faith in the ability of the state to provide stability and security. Additionally, the use of violence and coercion to gain political power undermined the legitimacy of the government and further destabilized the state. Ultimately, this political instability was a contributing factor to the decline and eventual fall of the Roman Empire. The rise of Christianity marked a significant shift in Roman society, introducing new beliefs and practices that challenged traditional Roman values. Initially, Christians were a marginalized religious group, often facing persecution for their beliefs. However, with the support of Emperor Constantine, Christianity eventually became the dominant religion of the Roman Empire. This shift had a profound impact on Roman society, as Christianity introduced a new set of ethics and values that stood in contrast to traditional Roman beliefs. This included teachings of humility, charity, and the importance of the individual rather than the state. While Christianity brought social cohesion to Roman society, it also contributed to the erosion of traditional Roman values and contributed to the fall of the Roman Empire. The rise of Christianity created a conflict between traditional Roman values and Christian ethics. Roman society was built on a strong sense of duty to the state, and Roman values prioritized loyalty, courage, and honor. Christianity, on the other hand, emphasized humility, charity, and forgiveness. These differing cultural values clashed with each other, causing tension and contributing to social unrest. Christians refused to participate in some traditional Roman rituals, such as sacrifices to the Roman gods, which enraged traditionalists. While these conflicts were not the sole cause of the fall of the Roman Empire, they contributed to the erosion of traditional Roman values, which weakened the cohesion of the Roman state. The spread of Christianity had a profound impact on Roman identity and authority. As Christianity became the dominant religion of the Roman Empire, traditional Roman values and practices began to be seen as antiquated and outdated. The role of the emperor and the importance of loyalty to the state were undermined by the rise of a new religious authority. The Roman pantheon of gods, which had played a central role in Roman society and identity for centuries, was gradually replaced by the Christian God. The many visible symbols of Roman power, such as statues and monuments to pagan gods, began to be dismantled and replaced with Christian symbols. This erosion of Roman authority and identity further weakened the cohesive strength of the Roman state and contributed to its eventual fall. Maintaining a large and expanding military was a significant drain on Rome's finances. The Roman army was a professional, standing army, meaning that soldiers were paid and equipped year-round, regardless of whether they were actively fighting. As the Roman Empire expanded, so too did their military and the territories they were responsible for defending. The cost of maintaining such a large and far-reaching military was immense, and as time went on, it became increasingly difficult for Rome to finance ongoing military campaigns. The military was also a significant political force, often backed by powerful generals who demanded high salaries and access to resources. The financial strain caused by the military's expense was one of the major factors contributing to the fall of the Roman Empire. Corruption was a significant problem within the Roman government, with officials using their positions to enrich themselves at the expense of the state. This corruption crisis had a major impact on Rome's finances, as government funds were often diverted towards lining the pockets of corrupt officials rather than supporting the needs of the state. This financial strain was compounded by a lack of effective taxation, with many wealthy Romans evading taxes and leaving the burden of funding the government on the shoulders of the lower classes. The corruption scandal, along with other factors such as military overspending, contributed to a financial crisis in Rome that weakened the state and made it vulnerable to further decline. Inflation was a major problem for the Roman economy, contributing to its eventual decline. As the Roman Empire expanded, the government needed more and more money to support its military campaigns and maintain its political power. To finance these expenses, Rome began to engage in a process of money creation, such as the debasement of their currency, which led to an increase in the money supply in circulation. This increase in the amount of money available led to a rise in prices and a decrease in the value of currency, resulting in inflation. Additionally, the influx of wealth from conquered territories caused economic disruption throughout the empire, contributing to further economic instability. Ultimately, inflation weakened the Roman economy, causing it to become increasingly vulnerable to outside pressures and eventually contributing to its fall. In conclusion, the fall of the Roman Empire was the result of a complex set of factors that accumulated over time. Internal corruption and political dysfunction weakened the ability of the empire to govern effectively, while economic troubles and military overspending strained the resources of the state. External threats from barbarian invasions proved a final blow, eventually overwhelming the weakened and fractured Roman defense. Despite its decline and collapse, the legacy of the Roman Empire endures to this day, as its art, language, and cultural traditions continue to inspire and inform our modern world.